All right, guys, it's time to turn the page. Last week is over. It's time for week 10. New York Jets, Las Vegas Raiders, Sunday night football. It doesn't get any better than this. Let's dive in. Zoinks! It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans. Field Yates, baby. Field gosh darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show. Come on, people. Connor Rogers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor gosh darn Sycamore, baby. For me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever been.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas. Good morning, everybody. My name is Paul Esden Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show live every morning at 7:30 for about 20 minutes-ish. And it's also available in all your audio-only form podcasts by simply searching for Boy Green Daily. Thanks, everybody, for the support. Make sure you dive into the comment section if you're watching live. And also like, share, subscribe, do all that jazz. Anywho, let's bring in a guest for the very first time on Boy Green Daily, one of the most influential New York Jets Instagram accounts in the universe is led by this man, Ali. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Bah, bah, bah. Ali jumping us here on the show. Good morning, Ali.
Good morning. How are you, Paul?
I'm fired up, man. I am fired up. It's great to finally connect the dots. We have Ali and all his superstar influential powers in the New York Jets universe combining up with, well, Boy Green. I'm just kind of here. But we're both here, and our energies are matching. I love that here on a Wednesday morning, man. Things are fired up. They're fired up right now. Yeah.
Fired up, yeah, for sure. In a bad way, but...
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. So I guess we'll get into the thing. If you guys want, we had a longer form video on this. You can check it out. I dropped it last night, but I want to get your thoughts on this, Ali. The quarterback situation, it's very bizarre. So, Robert Salah seems to indicate that Zach Wilson is his guy because he speaks at the podium with the media for, somewhere like 15 minutes. And then right after that, he leaves that room, goes into a media room and does a phone call with the Michael Kay show. And that's like 3, 4, 5 minutes later, normally. And when he spoke to the normal media, he just said, I would consider, this is Salah, and I'm paraphrasing a little, Salah, would consider a quarterback change if he was the only problem. Salah continues to explain why he's not. He went penalties, offensive line, blah, 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 blah. Like, if he was the only problem and we switch it out and everything's magically fixed, okay, I would do it. But I don't think that's it. Collective effort and things of that nature. Then he hops on the Michael Kay show and he's asked several quarterback questions in a row. And on quarterback question number 2, Michael Kay just straight up asked, why not give Trevor Siemian a shot, basically, because Zach Wilson has been the commonality in all your offensive problems. Trevor Siemian hasn't been here. Why not try it? What do you have to lose? And Salah was, I don't know. I plead the fifth. You got me. And I was like, what do you mean you got me? This is the middle of an interview. This isn't a game of tag. You got me. Like, what in God's green earth? What did you make of that response by Robert Salah on the Michael Kay show, which is currently going well? It's got over 1 million hits right now on social media. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, I think the New York Jets have just handled the quarterback position horribly after Aaron Rodgers went down. They had a chance of getting another quarterback when Rodgers went down. That's when they should have pulled the trigger. They had another time to pull the trigger before the trade deadline. They still didn't do it. You could have gotten Dobbs. You could have gotten Jameis Winston. You could have got anyone for the Jets to come in. You could have gotten Carson Wentz for cheap. Like, the Jets needed some guy to come in. And even if Zach Wilson, you want to keep him out there, bring another quarterback in just so if he goes down, if he's not playing well, you have the option to replace him. And we really don't have that option. Boyle is not going to do the job. Like, he's going to be actually worse than Zach Wilson. So the Jets need to get another quarterback there. And I mean, I don't know who's making that decision, but I think it's a Woody Johnson type deal right here, because I think Robert Salah wants another quarterback. I think Joe Douglas has thought about it too. But I think ownership is not letting that happen, especially with all the assets that went to Aaron Rodgers. And also, they don't want to piss off Aaron Rodgers. They don't want to get another quarterback to compete with him, whatever like that. But if you get a Carson Wentz, that's not competing with Aaron Rodgers. That's just helping the team get to the point where if Aaron Rodgers can come play, he'll be ready to go. And it was a big mistake, leaving Mike White, bringing not having a good quarterback behind Zach Wilson. Yeah, Zach Wilson is still an experiment and it's going really horribly. And with Zach Wilson, he's been a big part of why this offense sucks. But there's other parts of this offense that are just horrible. I always hated Hackett. I didn't really like when he signed with us. Receivers dropping the ball, penalties, offensive line looking like absolute crap. Like it's just awful all around. And you can blame Zach Wilson, and Robert Salah said that it's a lazy excuse just to blame the quarterback. I agree, but Zach Wilson sucks. Like he sucks right now, and like he has not gotten better. And he has one decent game for an average quarterback, and we think that he has a good chance of being something good. But he has not been consistent with us, and that's kind of what it is. Because with New York Jets have just handled the quarterback position very horribly after Aaron Rodgers. They're like, okay, Aaron Rodgers is done, but 4 plays and we lose him. They don't make a move. They pretty much have thrown the season away and see maybe the defense can win us ball games, the special teams. And we saw this past Monday night, none of that worked, and we got blown out at home against a 32 ranked defense in the Chargers. We couldn't move the damn ball and couldn't score points. Even in the end, in garbage time, we couldn't even score a touchdown. So the New York Jets have a lot of work to do. If they lose to the Raiders this week, there has to be a lot of changes. They have to just add someone because it's a nightmare of an offense.
I'm going to be honest, Ali. I love your style. Very blunt, and I feel like I am in a boxing match. You're just hitting me with jabs in the face, and I'm just not doing anything. My hands are down. I'm just, ooh. There's bluntness. There's some sharpness to your words. And I ask you this, a couple of follow-ups here. So from some of the indicators from what you said, so do you believe the only other 2 quarterbacks on the Jets roster? Well, technically, there's only one other quarterback on the 53-man roster. That's Tim Boyle, who's QB2. Trevor Siemian, who a lot of people have been talking about over the last 24 hours, is technically on the practice squad. So the Jets would have to make a move there to make that more permanent. It'd be kind of weird to have your starting quarterback on the practice squad in terms of an elevation on a week-to-week basis. So that part would be kind of weird. So I ask you this. Do you want with how it's currently constructed, there's no other quarterback right now on the team of all like names people are floating out there, just with Tim Boyle and Trevor Siemian as options. Would you like to see the Jets make a quarterback change to either one of those players, or do you believe they would just be worse and there's no point?
I mean, I think Zach Wilson should be the quarterback this week,
Okay.
but bring up Trevor Siemian as the backup, number 2 quarterback, because if things we're again on primetime football one more time. If Zach Wilson does another stinker, like we need a guy that can be tossed in and maybe produce and maybe move the offense. But the problem also is that people are not looking at is Hackett sucks. Hackett is so bad, and I hated the hire from the beginning. All my friends were like, "Oh, you guys signed Hackett when we signed him," and I'm just like, Aaron Rodgers better get here because Aaron Rodgers is the offense coordinator. That's the only reason I was fine with that. Hackett was not when Aaron Rodgers, but now Hackett is the offensive coordinator. And we suck. The offense is so bad. It's just not a good mix. Zach Wilson being a bad quarterback, offensive coordinator being horrible. The stars are not getting the ball as much. You're pretty much putting your wide receivers out to die. The Jets only have 1 wide receiver on the team right now with Garrett Wilson. Everyone else pretty much sucks. The offensive line is banged up. It's a disaster. It's a recipe of disaster on those Jets team right now on offense. I would definitely bring up Siemian because what do you got to lose? And you take a guy that doesn't even see the field, take him off the active roster, bring in a quarterback because that's what the Jets need. And if the Jets had even average quarterback play, if we had Carson Wentz in that game this past Monday, we win the ball game. If we had Dobbs, we would 100% win. So you need a quarterback that knows how to throw the damn ball on time and get his receivers because, there's times where the receivers weren't getting open, but there was times where he can have a big play and he just missed the open guy. And the New York Jets are struggling because of this, because the Jets defense is elite. This Jets defense may be better than the 2009, 2010 defense.
Wow.
But it doesn't matter if you can't move the damn ball on offense and you're last in every category on offense.
Yeah, we'll see if Robert Salah changed his mind when he spoke to the media yesterday on Tuesday, because we had the Monday Night Football game. When he spoke to the media on Tuesday, he indicated he would not at this time be elevating Trevor Siemian. But of course, as Ritz Samini noted on social media, he can say whatever he wants yesterday. The real action will happen on Saturday. That's when the decision will come. So we'll see if there's a potential change of heart as the week progresses here. Here's another conspiracy theory, because that's kind of what this all sparked. To your point, getting back to that from the Michael Kay show, is how Robert Salah answered that question, suggested to some people that he was backpedaling because he can't admit potentially that the decision was above his head, and that he was running out of reasons to say why Zach Wilson's his guy and all these things, where some people have suggested Joe Douglas, the guy who drafted Zach Wilson, wants him to continue to be out there. Some people suggested Woody Johnson, all the way at the top, would be orchestrating this decision. Here's another one. Jared B throws this up in our Boy Green Daily chat. Could it be Aaron Rodgers wants them to stick with Zach? Obviously, there was a pre-existing relationship there before he got there. Now he's here. They seem to have a tight bond. Rodgers speaks glowingly of him on the Pat McAfee weekly shows. There seems to be a little bit of relationship there, and potentially moving on from him in general to either Tim Boyle or Trevor Siemian, or even bringing another guy in, could potentially ruffle those feathers, because Zach seems to have this confidence issue where they didn't want to bring someone in to ruffle him. Is there any possibility to this that Jared B suggests, or is that ridiculous?
No, that's not ridiculous, because what we heard about what the rumors were in Green Bay. He doesn't want that competition. He doesn't want that, and he wants his way pretty much. And I could see that. I can definitely see that the Jets are not trying to trigger Aaron Rodgers, being like, if we bring another quarterback in that jeopardizes you, like if we went out and got Kirk Cousins, obviously that would be jeopardizing Aaron Rodgers. So like that type of move could be, pissing off Aaron Rodgers, and we have another scenario with the Jets and we kind of go down the drain. We lose our young stars. Like it could be really bad for the Jets. So I can see their perspective on that, because you don't want to piss off Aaron Rodgers, who's pretty much beating science to come back on the field. So like you don't want to piss that off. But the thing is, if you want him back on the field this year, you need to put out a team to win ball games, right? You need a team that can win these games. So when we have a chance of going to the playoffs or making a run for it, Aaron Rodgers is like, okay, I want to come play for this team, and I want to go make a run. But the Jets are just not doing that. Like, I know it's one loss, but this loss was so bad that you puts things to perspective as how lucky the Jets were, because the Jets have a good defense, and how bad the offense has been. And we're lucky to be 5-4 right now.
Let me ask you, did you hear the Michael Kay show clip that went viral? Did you get a chance to hear that, Ali?
Yeah, I heard it a couple times. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure, because we have someone in the chat that's asking a specific question about something that happened, and we don't have time to play the full clip. Again, if you guys want to see that, either go to my Twitter at BoyGreenChef25, or we also have a different video on the YouTube channel kind of diving into this in more detail. But one of the reasons Robert Salah said he can't make a change is because he has to consider this from a global standpoint. First off, I have no idea what that means. Perhaps, Ali, you can shed some light on global standpoint.
I think he was scrambling for words.
Okay, because like he said, global standpoint. I mean, I went global stand. What is that?
I think because like New York is just in like a global look, I guess. Like New York City is where everyone's looking at the New York team, no matter how bad they are. And the Jets got Aaron Rodgers. They got like these big name players on the team and stuff like that. And then he goes down week 1, and it's like the Jets were on prime time. They put a stinker up. Everyone's looking at the Jets and like, okay, this is the same old Jets again. They're back to being the Jets. So that's kind of, I feel maybe that's it. That's what it is, because the Jets are on like a microscope.
Maybe. I would just say, again, if I'm at my radio station, my boss asks me anything, I'm just going to be like, yeah, let me go evaluate that from a global standpoint. And then I'm just going to walk away. It's just going to be like, what does that mean? I'm not sure. But anywho, we're here with Ali, again, a phenomenal Instagram account. He's also on all the other social medias as well, but loyal NYJ fans there, or loyal New York Jet fans. It's the easier way to say it. So, folks, make sure you hit that up and follow it. So now let's look ahead here with all these quarterback issues amiss. The Jets are still in the thick of everything. They're 4-4. They have the same amount of losses as the Bills do. It would have been great to be 5-3 because not only would you have remained in sole possession of second place, which they had because of winning percentage, it would have been a half a game out of first place, which is probably the tougher pill to swallow because everything was in front of the Jets, and the Chargers weren't crazy. They had a punt return touchdown. The Jets destroyed them offensively, but it didn't matter because of all their self-inflicted wounds. They ended up losing the game. So it's frustrating because of where they could be, but that's over. So now you have to look ahead. This Raiders game, it seems on the surface to be an imminently winnable opponent, but so did the Chargers, and the Jets weren't able to get it done. So how are you feel about this Raiders game ahead of Sunday Night Football?
This dictates the season, honestly. This game is dictating like what this team's got, because if the Jets go and lose and put a game like they did on the Chargers, they're gonna lose the locker room. You saw after the Chargers game, there was reports of pretty much the entire team emptying out before even the media got into the locker room, because they're pissed off. Because obviously the defense has a right to be pissed off because they pretty much keep us in the game, and the offense just can't move the damn ball. And the Raiders have been struggling. There's a lot going on with the Raiders right now. We could have got Devontae Adams, we didn't. The firings of the head coach, and they won last week. So it's going to be a very important game for the Jets to come win this, because you need to come out away. I think there's going to be a huge Jets presence in Vegas. You need to win this game. It's a must win for the Jets, and every game is a must win, but this game, after what they did on Monday night, is a must win, just because they need some type of positivity going into that locker room. If Zach Wilson is the quarterback, then he needs some type of motivation to get going. We know he sucks, and I don't think he'll be here next year. But with Zach Wilson, you need to show some confidence in him. You need to show that he can move the ball, make some easy throws for him, and let him he needs to know that he just needs to run, use his legs. The Jets could win this game easily if they really wanted to, but emphasis on the run game. The play action is not going to work if you don't have a run game, and that's what they were trying to do all game on Monday. They need to get that run game going. They need to feed Breece Hall, and just not have Dalvin Cook on the field. It's a winnable game. Just don't get outcoached. I think the Jets have just been getting outcoached by every opponent so far. And somehow in all the other games, they somehow won. But they've been outcoached a lot this year, and the Jets need to not be outcoached with the coaching staff that literally has just got into new positions after firing. So
it's a fair point.
It's a big thing for Robert Salah. He needs to win this game.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Also, I've seen a few people bring this up. So, Nick, I want to highlight your YouTube comment here because, again, we're moving on to the Raiders, but a few people have brought this up. And I just want to say I think a lot of this is warped, and I'll read it for our audio-only listeners. Nick comments in here. The Jets, won on passing yards, time of possession, first down, total plays. If you catch drop balls and erase the penalties, the Jets have a positive outcome. He's talking about this Chargers game to come. Well, let's go through all of these. Passing yards, they were down the entire game, so they had to throw the ball. Number one. And Zach Wilson wasn't going against the Jets defense. Time of possession, because the Jets kept shooting themselves in the foot, the Chargers didn't need very long to score their possession. So that shifted that. First downs, again, same sort of thing. They were going against the Chargers defense, not the Jets defense. Total plays, also, again, another warped stat. When they're fumbling at the 50-yard line, the Chargers don't have a lot of time to go. The drop balls and erase the penalties and all that stuff, it's fine to cherry pick. Unfortunately, it was just too many self-inflicted wounds. And Zach Wilson missed some throws too. So it's just kind of a cataclysmic failure on a lot of levels. And the problem is, if it was one mistake, like one guy fumbled the ball and lost the game, like you could point at that guy and single that guy out. But because everyone made mistakes, it's harder to kind of say, well, if you take away all these things, they're this. That to me, it's a little bit harder. Let's go through a couple more things here, and then we'll wrap up the program here in terms of this New York Jets Las Vegas Raiders game with Sunday Night Football right on top of us. Another reason why it might be must win. Here's the schedule upcoming for the New York Jets. So they are at Las Vegas coming up, obviously this Sunday, November 12th, Sunday Night Football. On a short week, they go to Buffalo to play the Buffalo Bills. That one also on the road. And then they have 3 straight home games. Miami, that's a Black Friday game, another short week. So they have 3 short weeks here coming up in a row, or technically 4 because of Monday Night Football. So you have 4 short weeks. So a lot of adjustment there. And then you have those 3 home games, which I said Dolphins, Black Friday, then Falcons, Houston. You have a little mini bye after the Dolphins game, but Falcons, Houston all at home. It's time to turn around because if you don't beat the Raiders, all of a sudden then you drop to 4-5, then you play Buffalo and Miami. And while you've already beaten Buffalo and you haven't played Miami yet, Buffalo is searching for themselves. I don't know. I'd feel a lot better if the Jets go 5-4, then they head to Buffalo, and then it's a gravy game because you already beat them once, and I think that could be the right mentality in that. And then if you win that one, all of a sudden you're 6-4 heading into that Miami Dolphins game. Then all of a sudden, oh baby, the AFC East is back on the line, which would be phenomenal. So with that being said, Ali, let me go to you. Prediction time. You're the first one who gets to do this since we had kind of all the late Charger stuff yesterday and Monday Night Football, obviously. So the first one to give this prediction, Jets Raiders prediction, score prediction. What's happening on Sunday Night Football?
Oh boy. I think it's gonna be a doozy of a game.
Okay, I like doozies.
I think it's gonna be like 2017 Jets.
Oof. All right. So tight.
I think it's gonna be a nail biter. I don't think there's gonna be much offense. I think it's gonna be yeah, I mean, I think the Jets just pull it off somehow and give the Jets fans hope. But it's going to be an awful game, and we're still going to be here talking about replacing Zach Wilson.
Fair enough. Well, I will take a win no matter what way it comes, and that would be a phenomenal one to get. Again, a relatively inexperienced coaching staff, a team that sure beat the crap out of the Giants. But come on, who hasn't done that this season, for Pete's sake? So we'll see what happens. But Ali, great debut on Boy Green Daily. We'll have to do this again soon, my man.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Feel free to give any plugs on the way out for any of the action you've got going on, my friend.
Obviously, loyal NYJet fans on Instagram and Twitter. Posting there on almost every day. But I'm trying to get on TikTok. Podcast is launching very soon. In a week or two, we're just figuring out the last. I'm very excited for that. We're getting sponsors and stuff like that. We're getting some athletes, some reporters and stuff on there. So it's gonna be a fun listen. It's gonna be a fun watch. So there's big plans for it, but hopefully the Jets can keep up winning so we can have some viewership there. But
sure,
I think it'll be a fun time for sure.
Well, looking forward to it, everybody. Thanks for joining us here on Boy Green Daily. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Jake Brown of the New York Post, he'll be joining us tomorrow morning at 7:30. So take care, everybody, and we'll see what other Jet presence we get today and media and everything else. It should be interesting, to say the least. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow.